Hey, all, Esky here, bringing you a Deadlock ranked tier list. So ranked, if you don't know, is about to come out, and it's going to be purely solo queue for now. So that's how we're going to rank these heroes. Can they carry a team as a solo player? If you guys enjoy educational Deadlock content, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Let's get into it. Abrams. So I'm going to put Abrams in A tier. I think Abrams is strong early to mid game. And if Abrams gets a lead, he can definitely put the game away in the mid game. However, if the game goes too long, Abrams tends to fall off, especially when a lot of the characters get more mobility. They can get away from Abrams. They're not going to constantly be in melee range. So that's why I think Abrams is only A tier. Bebop. I'm going to put Bebop in C tier. I think this might be a little controversial. I think Bebop's hook is good, but when it comes to a solo queue and you cannot be relying on your teammates to follow up your hooks, Bebop is really a combo-based character that relies on his team to follow up on his combo. I think his ultimate build is good, but it's not great because good players are going to buy knockdown. They're going to have stuns. They're going to have, Lash ultimate, something to get you out of your ultimate. That's why I think Bebop is C tier. Dynamo, I'm also going to put in C tier. I don't think Dynamo is that good in solo queue per se. I think in team, like organized tournament play, Dynamo can be really great. His ultimate is game changing in that regard. But when it comes to unorganized matches where you don't want to rely on your team, Dynamo's ultimate is pretty much relying on your team to follow up on it. So that's why I think he's in C tier. Grey Talon. Grey Talon for me is definitely D tier. I don't see Grey Talon have a lot of impact. I think he's too squishy, doesn't deal enough damage. And a lot of Grey Talons I see go their ultimate build. And while that can be useful, I don't think that's ever going to carry you in a solo queue game. You're not going to be the one carrying the team. It's more of a support-based build. So that's why I think Grey Talon's in D tier. Haze. Haze, I'm going to put in B tier. I think Haze definitely can solo carry games. I do think players have gotten better at countering her, and she's also received some nerfs recently. So, people know how to play against you now. They're going to buy Return Fire. They're going to buy Metal Skin. They're going to get out of your ultimate. Obviously, your fixation can be really good as well. I think you can carry games, but players are just a bit better at playing against you now. Infernus. I think Infernus is S tier. I think he combines tankiness with a lot of damage. Yes, some of his core items like a Ricochet, for example, have received some nerfs, but other core items on him, like Leech, for example, have received some buffs. So I think it kind of cancels out. I think Infernus is still very, very strong. And because he has both tankiness and damage, I think he's really great at solo carrying games. Ivy. I'm going to put Ivy in B tier as well. I think Ivy has a lot of map presence with her ultimate, can be very good at carrying the urn, but Ivy is still much more support-based character, and support-based characters in my mind are always going to rank a bit lower because they do rely on their team being good. They can't, just solo kill a bunch of players back to back. So that's why I think Ivy's in B tier. Kelvin. I think Kelvin's in A tier. He has received some nerfs, but overall, I think his kit is very good at isolating a few enemies and being able to pick them off, especially if you get a good dome off on a carry and you can melt them with your beam. That's where Kelvin really shines, in my opinion. So I think Kelvin can solo carry his team. Maybe not the absolute best at it, but I think he's pretty good. Lady Geist. Lady Geist is definitely S tier for me. I think she's gotten a string of buffs now, and she just outputs a ton of damage, and it's all largely AoE based damage with her bomb and with her malice. I think because she has so much damage, and not only that, if you can get a good swap off, you're basically guaranteeing a kill for you. I think that's why she's in S tier right now. Lash. I think Lash is also A tier, similar to Kelvin. I think a fed Lash is definitely going to carry the game, but there are times where you're just not going to be as effective because the enemy team is going to understand how to play against you. They're not going to let you ground pound. They're going to line of sight your ultimate. I think Lash is still really, really great at carrying his team, but I don't think he's necessarily S tier. McGinnis. I think McGinnis is B tier. I think one of the more popular builds right now with her is a more support-based build. And while I think it's pretty good, I don't know that it's necessarily going to carry you in solo queue. Solo queue to me is about combining tankiness and damage so that you can survive long in a team fight and make sure you're killing a bunch of the enemies. I don't think McGinnis has that ability right now. I think she's probably better in organized team play. Mo and Krill. I'm going to put Mo and Krill in B tier as well. I think Mo and Krill can solo carry games, but you think about Mo and Krill's kit, it's largely, I would say, more support-based kit where you're isolating a carry, you're going to ult them, your team's going to follow up and do a bunch of damage to them, and you're going to get a kill based off that. That's not necessarily going to carry you in solo queue. If you get fed enough, though, you can probably end up solo ulting someone and kill them, but that's not necessarily going to happen in solo queue. Paradox. Paradox, I think, is also B tier for solo queue in my mind. Once again, Paradox ultimate and the combo of swapping through the wall, that's a lot of damage, but you're still also relying on your team a bit there to follow up on your ultimate. Like I said, B tier to me is characters that can solo carry games but aren't necessarily the best at it. They still have kits that, emphasize their team helping them out. Pocket. I think Pocket is an S tier. I think Pocket's early laning is still pretty strong. Pocket obviously has a ton of burst damage and is probably the best assassin in the game right now, in my opinion. It's just very easy for you to get in the back line, isolate a carry, blow them up with your burst, and then get out safely. Also, on top of that, you have a very good team fight ultimate where you have the healing reduction, you have the AoE damage. So I think Pocket's S tier for those reasons. Seven, I think, is also S tier. The catch with Seven has always been, can you get to the amount of farm you need to carry the game? I think with the recent Seven buffs to, for instance, his regen, it helps him stay in lane longer so that he can continue to farm more. And once he hits that farm, he basically becomes a raid boss and he's near unkillable. He's dealing a ton of damage. He's healing a ton as well. So that's why I think 7 is really S tier. If you can hit that farm threshold, you're definitely going to be carrying the game. Vindicta, I think this one might be controversial. It was on the last tier list, but I do think Vindicta is B as well. I think she definitely has the opportunity to carry games, but the issue is if you don't have a decent enough team and the enemy team has characters like Lash, for example, that can get on top of you even in the air. If someone gets on top of you, you're generally not going to be building a tanky Vindicta build. They're going to be able to blow you up and kill you. I think better players are going to be buying stuff like Knockdown. So I do think Vindicta can carry games. She can definitely run away with them if she gets super fed, but the enemy team always has the opportunity to jump on you because you're just not as tanky as some of the other characters in the S and A tier. Warden. I think Warden is B tier as well. I think Warden's in a kind of a weird spot right now. He's received some nerfs. He just recently got a few buffs as well. Usually in the past, you'd play Warden gun build and, you'd run people down with your gun. I think now the best build for Warden is probably his ultimate build. I do think it's a little bit gimmicky and it's not necessarily going to carry you games. It can be good if you hit a good Majestic Leap, hit your ultimate and get right in the middle of the team fight and start dealing a ton of damage. I just think Warden's not the best laner, so it takes some time for him to really come online with his ultimate build. Wraith. I think Wraith is A tier. She definitely has received some nerfs with her cards, which in my opinion were pretty overpowered. I think they were justified. But even with her card nerfs, I think Wraith is still a really, really great character. She's very safe with her long-range blinks. She can split push really, really well, basically solo take walkers, which are very, very valuable. And on top of that, once you get the 5-pointer in your ultimate, you can change a team fight if you hit 3-4 people with your ultimate. So I think that Wraith has plenty of damage plus a good amount of CC. Also a really good split pusher. Yamato. Yamato has received some nerfs. I think the refresher changes and her ult build got hit a little bit hard there. But overall, I think Yamato is still a great character to solo carry games. Obviously, her ultimate makes her invulnerable and, gives you that extra time in a team fight to get more kills. And her kit is just really designed to be that kind of solo carry in my mind. Viscous. So Viscous also has received some nerfs recently, but I still think Viscous is one of the stronger tanks, similar to like a Kelvin and an Abrams. I think Viscous's kit has the ability to solo carry games. You can be very disruptive in fights with your goo ball. You do a lot of damage in the laning phase, and your cube can literally save your teammates from death. So I think Viscous has just such a flexible kit that you do have the ability to solo carry games. Shiv. Shiv is S tier in my mind. I think the best build on him right now is probably the melee build. The bleed build with his knives is still very viable as well. So he has different builds he could go. I think his kit is it just screams solo carry to me. You have a lot of tankiness with your bloodletting. You have an ultimate that's going to let you hop around in a team fight and get kills. You have plenty of damage when it comes to your slice and dice in the melee build, plus your punch. Or if you're going the knives build, the knives still deal plenty of damage as well if they ricochet at full rage. So I think Shiv is a great solo carry. And finally, Mirage. Mirage, I'm going to put in A tier. He did recently get a bit of a buff for his 3, so I think his damage is better. I think his ultimate gives him a ton of map presence, which is great because you can be pushing one lane and then immediately join a team fight. So if you have good macro, I think Mirage will be able to carry a game. I think my issue with Mirage is he doesn't necessarily have as much AoE damage as, let's say, a Pocket or a 7. So he's not going to be dealing as much damage as them, but he is decently tanky and he has a ton of map presence with his ability. Thank you all so much for watching my ranked tier list video. If you guys enjoyed this content, I generally do educational Deadlock content, so replay reviews, build guides. If you guys are interested in that, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. If you enjoyed this tier list, please hit that like button as well. Let me know down in the comments, what did I get wrong? I'm sure I got something wrong here, probably Vindicta if you were in my last one. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think of the tier list. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you in the next one.